Hello, welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hylton High School, this is our 2026 pre-assessment for Saunders and Hylton. Before we get started, a couple of housekeeping things to go over. Please, if you have any cell phones, please turn them off, not just on vibrate, but make sure we're not making any noise at all. We are recording tonight's concert in many different ways. Via judges in the back, they all have recording devices. We have a professional recording up here. We also we're videoing it as well. So, because this is an assessment, our pre-assessment concert, our judges have ultimate focus on what's going on stage. So if you have to use a restroom or if you have to enter or exit the auditorium, please do not do so in the middle of the song. Wait till in between songs during the applause to do so. So, all right, all that out of the way. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you guys supporting these guys and us in our endeavor to make live music and to make live music great, which is part of why we're doing this, because this is one of the biggest events for us as concert band people is doing assessment. Is where we get judged by judges that are picked by the state, and our score goes into the state archives forever and ever and ever. So it's a pretty important event. And tonight is the pre-assessment, which means things aren't going to be quite so polished because we still have a few weeks. I think we have 3 weeks. You guys have 4 weeks before the final assessment. We have hired 3 distinguished judges. If you look in the back there, they're going to be making comments throughout. So if you hear people talking, it's not somebody in the back that's being rude. They're actually helping us out, giving us some critique on our music. And they have little tape recorders so they can get a lot of information to us very easily. So please be patient. The good thing is, because it's assessment, we're getting ready for assessment, and the way we do the assessment is we don't talk in between songs. Are you going to talk in between songs? Nope. So good news is we're not going to do a lot of talking because that's how it is at assessment. We just wait for the judges' comments or the judges' nods, and then we go ahead with the next song. Now, after each performance, so after the Saunders Advanced Band performs, we're going to have one of the judges come up and just talk to them for a few minutes about their performance and just offer some words of encouragement or some critique and just kind of send them on their way. And that'll give us kind of a chance to get the next group staged and ready to go. So please be patient. We'll try to get through that as quick as possible. But again, we sure appreciate you being here. So, without further ado, I welcome the Saunders Advanced Band under the direction of Ms. Michelle Rupert.
is Hylton High School's concert band under the direction of Mr. Dwight Fontenot. the Hylton High School Symphonic Band under the direction of Mr. Dwight Fontenot.
All right, thank you so much. So on sax solo, that was John Yapin, and clarinet solo was Cameron Linder. I wasn't trying to be rude by not turning around and acknowledging the applause. The reason I didn't turn around because that was one song in 3 movements. So typically, when you have a 3-movement, 4-movement song, typically there's no applause. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll take all the applause we can get. So, but just so you know, I was not trying to be rude and not acknowledge your applause, but it was a 3-movement piece. So our final piece, Algonah Crossing, is by Michael Sweeney. And before we play our final number, I want to acknowledge our judges that are here. We have Mr. Keith Taylor, who is a retired band director, and come here to help us out and give us some critique. You guys give him a round of applause. Also, the other judge, Mike Basham, was retired from Hylton, longtime band director. And of course, the legendary Mr. Dennis Brown. So, if you think about it, there's over 100 years of band directing on our judges panel tonight. So a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom there. So we look forward to their comments. Right? Also, before we play our final song, let's thank the students for working so hard. These guys really put in a lot of work, and our rehearsals are pretty serious. Like we don't mess around. These guys will tell you they got about 5 minutes to get their instrument together, and we play from 5 minutes in until sometimes almost right up to the bell. And they don't really complain too much, I don't think, right? But so they do a good job just pushing through and doing the best they can, and they're really hard workers and they're focused for most of the rehearsal. I'd also really want to thank you guys for being here because, like I said, it's a rainy night. It's hard to get out on a Thursday night, but we really do appreciate you supporting live music. Right? I think it's very important. And then finally, can we have our booster members please stand if you're in the audience? Booster members, where are our booster members? Can you guys please stand? Yes, can you guys give me a round of applause? We could not do this without them. They make it all work behind the scenes, everything from uniforms to helping out with the stage stuff, just the transportation of kids and just everything behind the scenes. If you would like to become a booster member, you can check out hyltonbands.com, and there's a link on there. You can go to sign up, or you can contact me via the website, and we can get you involved in our program. We'd love to have you because it takes many hands to make this machine work. So. All right, so here's our final song, Algonah Crossing. Thank you so much.